It is June 28th, 2024, and you are listening to Sports Chowder with me, Sam Stebbins. Today I'm talking the NBA draft, an interesting Drake May development, Brian Bello's recent struggles, and more. As you may know, the NBA draft was on Wednesday and Thursday, and the Celtics actually used both of their picks. With pick number 30 in the first round, the Celtics selected Baylor Shireman out of Creighton. Baylor is a 6'6" guard who also played for South Dakota State, and he actually went to public high school in Aurora, Nebraska. Now, according to Boston.com, Baylor is the only player in Division I men's basketball history to post at least 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, 500 assists, and 300 three-pointers in a college career. He's actually the player with the most defensive rebounds in the past 25 years of college basketball, which I think is quite stunning. He's also the only Division I men's player since 1992-93 to record 300 rebounds and 110 three-pointers in a season. I think this is a great pick by the Celtics. Baylor obviously has quite the resume, and I think he has a lot of potential in the NBA. The best thing is that he has plenty of time to learn and develop. Unlike with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, we're not expecting him to play immediately for our team. He can spend some time with the main Celtics, maybe get some playing time late in the season with the Boston Celtics, but really he has time to grow into professional basketball. So I'm really excited to see where he goes. I think, he might be a small-town Nebraska kid, but I think he can really do some great things for the Celtics eventually. So he's another smart pick by Brad Stevens. Our other draft selection was Gonzaga forward Anton Watson, who we selected at pick number 54. Anton is originally from Spokane, Washington, and he was sort of a Swiss Army knife for the Bulldogs, as Boston.com put it. In his last season, he was an all-conference first-team selection with the West Coast Conference. He averaged 14.5 points per game and 7.1 rebounds per game, which was good enough for second on the Bulldogs. He is 6'8" with a 7-foot wingspan and a strong defensive player. Much like Baylor, there is room for growth, but thankfully they both have time to grow. The Celtics, as they are right now, are a very strong team, obviously. They are the reigning champions, so there is no pressure for either of them to be ready to start this season. And that's alright, that's actually great. So I'm really excited about the potential they both have, and I'm also not, riding a lot on it, If they turn out to be great, that's awesome, we have young talent. If not, it's okay. We still have some stars who are quite young, who have a lot of time, and we'll have other draft picks in the future. So overall, I'd say it's a solid draft by the Celtics. Brad Stevens knows what he's doing, and I'm glad we did not make any trade at the last minute. Perhaps the biggest story of the draft is that the Lakers ended up drafting LeBron James Jr., aka Bronny, at pick number 55. Now, for a long time, it was apparent that the James family plan was for Bronny to play with LeBron at some point. But in the past few weeks, there were rumors that this was no longer a priority for the James family. Now, I'm not sure if that was a smokescreen or something else, but the Lakers indeed drafted Bronny. Honestly, I think it's cool. It's historical for an all-time great player, not the greatest of all time, as some might say, but a great player in LeBron James getting to play with his son. And now some people are saying it's nepotism. Yes, it is, but there is so much nepotism in this world. Look at just about any team's front office, and it is filled with relatives of the team owner. They may or may not be qualified for the role they have, but they nonetheless have that role. We have no idea how Bronny will be with the Lakers. His college career was limited by a health incident, and he made the choice to move on to the NBA. He may be great. He may be, another all-star in the family. He might not. He might last a few seasons and be memorable for playing with his dad for a little bit. It's really a risk for all involved. It's a risk for the Lakers to use a draft pick on someone who isn't quite proven yet. It's a risk for LeBron because it's his son. It may not work out. And it's a risk for Bronny, you know? It may make him look bad when he's trying to move teams at some point. It could also work out well. We'll have to see. Love or hate the Lakers, love or hate LeBron James, it is a very interesting storyline going into this season, so I'm excited to see what happens. Moving away from the draft, but staying on the NBA, Kristaps Porzingis is going to have surgery that will force him to miss Latvia's Olympic qualifying games, which means, unfortunately, Kristaps will not be able to represent his home nation at the games this summer. And I'm really disappointed by this. I mean, obviously, your health comes first. If you need to have a surgery, if you need to recover, you have to do that above all things. Still, I'm very disappointed that this is what has to happen, because I would have loved to have seen Kristaps Porzingis play for his home country at the Summer Olympics. I mean, honestly, I'm really excited for the Team USA squad, of course, but it would have been cool to see them possibly play Kristaps on the Latvia team. So that's a really sad missed opportunity. I hope he heals up. I hope he gets a chance to play for Latvia at the 2028 Olympics, but you have to wait and see. I don't see why he wouldn't be able to unless he was unhealthy, so hopefully he's ready to go in 4 years. Shifting gears to the New England Patriots, training camp starts July 24th, and between now and then, Drake May has an interesting plan. Drake will be spending the next few weeks at home in North Carolina, trying to balance spending time with his family and friends and training. Now, the person he is training with is the interesting part of this. He'll be working with Clyde Christensen, who was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterbacks coach from 2019 until 2022. If you track, Clyde was coaching in Tampa when Tom was playing down there, a time in which, in his 40s, he won a Super Bowl, obviously, and in one season led the league in passing yards and passing touchdowns. So I think this is really cool. I think Drake May knows what he's doing here. He's working with, obviously, the greatest Patriot of all time, and he is putting in the work to hopefully earn the starting job by week 1. A further connection is that Clyde has been a volunteer offensive coach for the North Carolina Tar Heels since the beginning of last season. So Drake and Clyde had 1 year of overlap with the Tar Heels, and I'm glad they're still working together. I think it's very wise on the part of Drake May to seek Clyde's counsel. Clyde obviously knows Drake May, but also knows the NFL, and even more importantly, knows Tom Brady. Now, I really am not expecting Drake May to be a Tom Brady clone. That would be stupid and a ridiculous amount of pressure to put on a rookie quarterback. However, it does show me that Drake wants to work with the best so he can be the best he can be, and that's really wise. So yeah, I was excited to see this headline. I think it shows me the kind of work Drake May is putting in already. He's not just doing the bare minimum. He's not just showing up to Patriots practice and expecting the Patriots staff to personally mold him. Obviously, they will work really hard to make Drake May the best quarterback he can be, but Drake knows he has to go out of his way to get all the wisdom and knowledge and help he can get to earn the starting job and win. So hopefully this works well. Hopefully this is a great thing for Drake and, in turn, a great thing for the Patriots. Another interesting Patriots story came out of an interview that former Patriots nose tackle Vince Wilfork gave this week. He was asked what he thought about Coach Gerard Mayo, and he said, quote, "Everybody knows a middle linebacker is the quarterback of a defense, and that's what he was. And you've got to understand, he had guys around him, veteran guys around him, with leadership qualities. But he was the one that was captain. Bill saw it in him. So I knew right then and there that he would have a successful career," unquote. Now, I love Vince Wilfork. He is a 2-time Super Bowl champion with the Patriots. He is a leader himself, and he recognizes leadership when he sees it. So I really appreciate that he said this. I think it's good to build up the fan base's trust in Coach Mayo. Some people are questioning it, but I think he's a strong choice. And you have to remind people when they start to doubt Coach Mayo that the plan was for him to take over after Belichick retired. They just sped up the plan because the Patriots were not doing well. So I really appreciate that Vince Wilfork said this. I think it is very true. I think Coach Mayo is a strong leader. And not only that, if Belichick had to choose his own successor, I think Coach Mayo will be on that list. So thank you, Vince Wilfork. And now a Red Sox update. Last weekend they won a series 2-1 against the Cincinnati Reds. This week they won one game against the Blue Jays and lost another, with the third game being suspended for weather. And this weekend they have a series against the San Diego Padres at home. Now, one of the big Red Sox stories currently is that Brayan Bello has been struggling as of late. Currently he is 7-5 and had a pretty disastrous loss against the Blue Jays this week. In just 2.1 innings pitched, he gave up 7 earned runs. Now, obviously, this is raising some red flags. In the offseason, Bello signed a 6-year, $55 million contract extension. He is being seen by ownership and fans alike as someone with a lot of potential. Through his translator, he told reporters, quote, "My mindset is good. Mechanics are good. I don't really know what's going on right now. But I do know that I'm working with pitching coach Andrew Bailey on attacking the zone, doing what I'm supposed to do. And there's still a lot of season left for me. I know it hasn't been great to this point, but I know what I'm capable of, and I know what I can do for the rest of the season," unquote. So obviously, he has not been doing well recently. All Red Sox fans know that. But I want to be patient with him. He's 25 years old. He just got a huge opportunity with this 6-year contract. He was our opening day starter. I think it's a lot of pressure. I think he needs to work with Andrew Bailey and get his mindset corrected, get some confidence built back up. I think it would be very wise for our manager, Alex Cora, to delay his next start, give him time to figure out what's going on and make the adjustments he needs to do. It is funny that as Brayan Bello has gotten worse, the rest of the team has gotten better. It's possible we can compete for a playoff spot this season, and it would be great to have Bello at full force. So I hope he figures out what's going on. I really don't want him to be another player who got a big contract and then became mediocre. So I hope his next start is better. I hope he has a strong Red Sox career. I really don't want him to be a bust. I really would hate that. I really wanted to be optimistic at the start of the season about him, so I hope this is just a bump in the road and he'll pretty soon correct what he needs to correct. And now, Assorted Awesome, the part of the show where I talk about something that is 100% awesome with no caveats. Now, one bright spot from the Red Sox' horrible 9-4 loss to the Blue Jays on Tuesday is that the NBA champion Boston Celtics threw out the ceremonial first pitch. Obviously, I'm a sucker for first pitches, especially from other Boston athletes, so I love this. I loved watching it. And yes, their pitches were awful for the most part. They really are not baseball players. They are not pitchers. But they showed up, they represented their city, and I really love to see it. You give any non-Red Sox Boston athlete a Red Sox jersey, and I just love it. I'm a sucker for that. So, good for the Celtics for showing up, good for the Red Sox for hosting them. I wish they could have gotten a win against Toronto with the Celtics in attendance, but regardless, it's a good celebration. It's very Boston. It's awesome. That is almost all I have for this episode, but first, a programming note. I love doing this podcast every week, but as the NBA season has come to a close and the NBA draft has taken place, the only sport going on is baseball. And I love the Red Sox. Don't get me wrong, I just did a story about how I love a Red Sox first pitch. But do I want to talk about baseball for 20 minutes every week? I don't think so. So for the rest of the summer, until the football season starts, I will be uploading new episodes every 2 weeks. The main reason I'm doing this is I've realized I'd rather have a solid episode that's at least 20 minutes long and talks about a variety of sports stories than an episode that's shorter and kind of has to dig around for stories from non-baseball sports. The bottom line is quality over quantity. So every 2 weeks there'll be a new episode of Sports Chowder. I'll post about it on my social media. And then when the Patriots are back, when the Celtics season and the Bruins season is about to gear up, I'll go back to weekly episode drops. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate the support. You can follow me on X at Stebbins Tweets. You can follow the show at sports_chowder. You can follow the show on Instagram at sportschowder and like it on Facebook. I will return in 2 weeks with another all-new episode of Sports Chowder, the show that discusses, celebrates, and/or laments the state of Boston sports.